Hello, what's up, and welcome to a showcase of Ayaka's Dance Theme. Well, my version of Ayaka's Dance Theme for the Your Music competition that was held, 1.5 months ago. So basically, I've been contemplating on whether I should do this video or not, and whether I should do these kinds of videos or not. But I essentially came to the conclusion that, fuck it, let's do it anyway. Now, this is not going to be a tutorial in any way, it's more of a showcase, where I hope to give you guys a bit of insight in how I create music, my thought process, and, hopefully give a bit of inspiration to someone at least who might be thinking about getting into music. But basically, to explain a bit of history real quick, Genshin Impact is a really, really amazing game that I have played a lot and still play a lot. And basically, the publishers and / creators for Genshin Impact had a competition where you could take a soundtrack from any of their games, so that would mean Honkai Impact, Honkai Star Rails, and a few others as well, apart from Genshin Impact, and you would make your own version of it, have it about 60 seconds long, or less if you wanted, put a video with it, and then you have a chance of be in a competition and win prizes. I chose Ayaka's Dance Theme because, to be honest, Ayaka is a really good waifu, and she is one of my waifus in the game. Nothing to argue about there. So basically, I thought I'd showcase how I made the project, and I will most likely do these, both, these types of things with Genshin Impact soundtracks and videos, because it was really, really fun. But I will also most likely do other showcases of projects that I work on or have worked on. Maybe not to the point where I would do it for every project, but some projects I would definitely do it for. So, let's jump straight in. So, first and foremost, piano, the melody. Now, I usually use a piano to get the melody and chords out for the intro, the verse, the bridge, and the chorus. Because I feel that using a piano is easiest when you want to hear if notes harmonize well together, get the main layout down first for at least like a third of the song, and then you can just, add on instruments after that. So basically, I started with getting the melody. Now, the intro melody has essentially two melodies, which we can hear here. And so basically, this is the intro part, and this was the hardest part to do. But basically, once that was done, it was time to get to the main part, and that was when I had this. This was a lot easier to do, because, yeah. Because here it was just one main melody, together with an accord that goes like this. And basically, that's how it all started in the piano. Once that was done, it was time to sync it to the drum beat that I had, which is this. So, a very, very simple drum beat, but it gets the job done, and it sounds, to be fair, amazing, in my opinion. After that was done, it was time to, add the bass for the main part, and the bass is just like, it's a simple bass. Nothing more. And then we came to the guitars, because I already had a somewhat of an idea what type of, should I say, song I wanted to create with this, or what type of version I wanted to create, because a lot of Genshin Impact soundtracks or Genshin Impact character themes usually have a kind of rock or electronic together with orchestral instruments, which I absolutely love, and that's why I kind of wanted to do this type of stuff. So that's why I used this one, which is an amazing tool. If you want to know more about these, they all exist on native. You can buy all of the plugins that I use on native, apart from this one, which you have to buy separately, but it works with Contact, which is this. But basically, the guitar lets me make my own melody. So basically, in the package you have the normal sunburst, which is just the pre-made patterns, but in the deluxe version you have a few different stuff to choose from. I don't really know what you would call this, but open, muted, I don't really know what that's called, but basically you can create your own melody here, and that's why I did the chords with. It might not sound exactly like a real guitar would, but mixed together with everything, in my opinion, it sounds pretty damn good. And the same for the solo one, like... I don't really know how they've done this, and it most likely doesn't sound, if you just listen to it solo, it most likely doesn't sound exactly like a real guitar would, but I am not that type of person that have just listened to an electric guitar play. I usually listen to an electric guitar with the entire arrangement, with a lot of other instruments in it as well, and putting it together, it actually sounds, putting it together with the drums, bass, the orchestra, it sounds pretty good. Once that was done, once I had this, I knew that, alright, now everything here works. Let's make the orchestra, alright? Let's do the orchestra part. And so I started with one first violin, one second violin, one viola, one cello, and one bassist. Now, I usually have the bassist play the bass note of the chord, the cellos playing the middle note of the chord, and the first violins play the upper note of the chord, and then the second violin and the violas play the melody. So basically, I start with one each, and then once I feel that I'm satisfied with what I've got, I usually just copy the soundtrack. I do have them in a bit of different ranges, so this is around the C4 key, and this is around the C3 key, and then I usually mix in between them, and obviously they all have a certain range they can be within, as you see here. Doesn't work there, but it works there. Now it doesn't, because it's very low here. I just copy these because it makes it so much easier. And once that was done with this song, I thought that, you know what, because piano was a big part of the intro, and I still want the piano to be present, and that's why I did these kinds of parts here and there. It's just... yeah, I just wanted it. Because I knew it was gonna end on a piano as well, which was this. So that's why I kind of wanted a piano, and I just took, like, certain notes from the melody and put them together while listening, and worked out. And I will say that that's usually how I do a lot of my stuff. I mean, I do have some very basic music theory, but there is no real laws or anything in making music. There are guidelines which you can use, but I mean, you don't have to know the guidelines to make music. If you think it sounds good, then it most likely sounds good. But yeah, that's essentially how I build the entire song. So start with the piano. Once that was done, get the, the beat down, then start adding all the instruments that I wanted to make it fit. With that done, the entire thing was done. It was just the intro part left. I knew I wanted to build it up, so I had cellos, matching the basses and the melody. For all of this, so the cellos has a bit of the chords in it, plus the melody, whereas the bass is only the bass notes. And then you have the violins, which also has a mix of both the chords notes and the melodies notes. Yeah, obviously I did a bit of like a drum thing as well for the intro. To just like build it up, to hype it up more for when it actually gets to the real part where everything just kicks in. And basically, once all that was done, it's time to go to the mixing part of it, start mixing everything. And basically, there is no rules here. Just put them at the right volume where you feel that, this is how much I want the violins to sound, this is how much I want the electric guitar to sound, and all of that. Like, just get volumes that you feel fit, and then make sure, obviously, the output volume is right for the the platform you decide to publish it for, because there's a bit of difference for all of that. And that's especially when these types of stuff can be very useful, a loudness meter, which can just help you with this kind of stuff. But basically, the orchestra, pan it, as you can see here, to make it sound like a real orchestra would. So you have violins to the left, and the basses and cellos to the right. And this is based off if you're facing an orchestra sitting in the middle. And the reason why I don't have like hard left here is because I still want some sound to be in your right ear, because Usually when you listen to an orchestra in real life, it is usually, you hear them in both ears, but you will hear the first violins a bit stronger in your left ear than in your right. So yeah, once that was done, it was time to add, EQs to them, because I usually only use EQ because I feel that a lot of plugins, sometimes it's compressors as well and limiters, but for the most part it's just EQs, because I feel that a lot of the plugins nowadays do have a pretty good sound quality already, so it's just like more fixing. We can take this and the melody, this is what I'm taking away. You hear like kind of the whistling sound. That's what I want to take away with that. Once that is done, I add a reverb, which I have to a bus here. And once that is done, it's essentially done. Then I just need to do a bit of an EQ, raising the mid a bit, cutting the lows and highs. Multiband dynamics, which is a already pre-established thing where I just use soft limiter, and then I have another limiter that just cranks up the volume, and I make the adjustments here to fit the desired volume, for which in this case was YouTube, but obviously it's going to be a bit different if you're using Spotify. You're going to want to aim at a few different numbers here, but I will not go through that. There's a lot of tutorials on that you can watch if you're interested in that. So yeah, that is basically a quick or somewhat quick showcasing of this soundtrack. And again, I'm really happy, and thanks to everyone that listened to it and liked it. I'm really happy that so many people liked it, and that's why kind of gave me a bit of motivation to do this video as well. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope at least someone felt a bit of inspiration, maybe not inspiration to exactly start making music, but at least an interest to dip your toes in. But yeah, either way, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, be cool.